It was a shortcut through the desert that would unite East and West. But what followed wasn't unity, it was control. The canal became a tool, a weapon, a prize. And today, more than a century later, the fight for the small passage of water still hasn't ended. This is the story of the 190 kilometers that control the world.
The Royal Navy patrols Egypt's coastline, while its carrier-based venoms, wyverns and sea...
So how do we get here? Well, let's dial the clock back to 1488. You walk into the royal palace in Lisbon. The King of Portugal awaits you. He tells you about a land to the far east, filled with spices and vast wealth. You embark south. Your ship sails for months on end, with the only thing in sight the distant coastline on your side. You and your crew are starving, and you're about to give up hope, until you see it. A violent storm brews on the horizon. Your hands grasp the wheel tighter as the coast bends sharply east. You've done it. You've rounded the southern tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope. You were this Portuguese explorer who just discovered the first ocean route from Europe to the Indian Ocean. For the next 350 years, ships will follow this long and dangerous path until one day someone asks, what if we didn't have to go around Africa at all? A French diplomat had a bold idea. He traveled to Egypt with a simple question. What if we dug through the desert? The Egyptian ruler agreed. Together, they began one of the most ambitious construction projects the world had ever seen. Tens of thousands of workers labored in brutal heat. Thousands died, but the work didn't stop. And in 1869, after 10 years of digging, the impossible became real. A canal slicing Egypt in two. It was narrow, vulnerable, just 300 meters wide, but it worked. Overnight, it became the most important shipping route on Earth, a shortcut that turned a 3-week journey into 10 days. But the canal wasn't just a shortcut for ships, it was a business goldmine. Whichever country controlled it would collect hefty tolls from every ship passing through, and have a ton of leverage over other countries. It became a prize that many powers were eager to control. But control of the Suez Canal wouldn't last peacefully. The canal may have been built in Egypt, but for nearly a century, it wasn't Egypt's. By the late 1800s, the British had seized control, not just of the canal, but of Egypt itself. It became a lifeline of the empire. Troops, tea, oil, and gold flowed through it, all headed for Britain. But after the World Wars, the empire was fading, and Egypt wanted its canal back. In 1952, a revolution swept through Cairo. The monarchy was gone. A young general took power, and he had one goal: reclaim the Suez Canal. When the US and Britain refused to fund his plans for a dam on the Nile, Nasser struck back. He shocked the world by nationalizing the canal in 1956.
A seizure from private interests that the Egyptian says is his answer to the West for refusing to finance the Aswan Dam.
Suddenly, the West's most valuable waterway was under Egyptian control. At a secret meeting in Seville, France, the future of the canal was decided. Then came the invasion. Israeli forces moved into the Sinai. Days later, French and British paratroopers dropped into Egypt. But this time, the world had changed. The United States and the Soviet Union both demanded the invaders withdraw, and they did. But the fight for the canal didn't end in the 50s. In the years since, it stayed right at the center of global power. Not just for militaries, but for markets, money, and everything in between. See, the canal isn't just another piece of history. It's a huge part of how stuff gets from one side of the world to the other. When the canal gets blocked or threatened, it doesn't just delay ships. It sends shockwaves through factories, stores, and markets everywhere. It shows just how connected everything is, from raw materials to the products we use every day. And the Suez isn't the only choke point. Panama, Hormuz, Malacca. Anywhere you have a choke point that is deeply connected in an economy like we do, there will always be money and power at stake. And when there's money and power at stake, well, you know. Understanding this is key to seeing how global business really works, beyond the headlines and the politics, because the story of the Suez Canal is still unfolding, and every shipment, every deal, and every business decision that's made around the world